Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to another video with me, Ustaz Mizi Wahid, here on SalamSG TV. On the previous video, I spoke a bit about how we can be creative in terms of how we can take advantage of the extra opportunities we are finding for ourselves these days during the circuit breaker period. And for this video, I would like to talk about something a bit more serious as we speak about the opportunities that we can find in trying to rebuild and mend our broken relationships with our loved ones. I know that this could be your reality, some of you who are watching right now, that prior to the circuit breaker period, you may have had a tensed moment with your spouse, you may have had an argument with your sibling, a misunderstanding with your parents, or a fight with your own child, right? And now that suddenly you find yourselves all together, having to stay at home with each other, facing each other 24/7, and finding it very, very restless to just lock yourself in the room, realizing that you have to go out and you have to meet with people, you have to eat together, and things like that. And it may be kind of awkward for some of you, so I would like to take this moment and perhaps share some useful reminders from the Quran and Sunnah, as well as some other additional tips that we can try to practice and apply so as to help improve the situation at home, inshallah. Okay, are you ready? Bismillah. So first of all, Islam places a very high value on familial relationships. Islam places great importance on the topic of family, marriage, parenting, respecting our parents, and so on and so forth. The word that perhaps comes to mind is the word silatul rahim. Sila means to connect, to have that connection. Ar-rahim means literally the womb. But the womb is what connects us because of our family relationships. We are linked to each other because we are either siblings, or we share a child together, or we are cousins. You know, that's my uncle and she's my auntie, and so on and so forth. So maintaining silatul rahim is something that is extremely important. If you expand it even, it could even include your friends, because rahim comes from the word rahmah. And to maintain that with people who you love for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is also crucially important. Okay? But you know, the truth and the reality of human relations is this, that the more we sit with each other, the more we spend time together, the more we interact with each other or work with each other, the higher the chance there is for us to actually get into disagreement on some matter, for our views to not click, for us to have contrasting opinions on a particular matter, for us to not be able to make a decision so smoothly and so seamlessly because we cannot agree on a particular matter. Now, these are the normal circumstances for any relationship, you know, between friends, between co-workers. But now I want to focus more on family, right? So you could be, someone who has been married for 10 years. Okay, let's just give an example, 10 years. And over the last 10 years, you've had your fair share of fights and arguments with your spouse. Yeah, so that's kind of normal. It happens to many couples. But then maybe, just maybe, something big happened not too long ago. And as you were, still trying to get over it, as the both of you are still trying to talk to each other about it, apologize, give them your forgiveness and things like that, suddenly the circuit breaker happened. And before this, you could be out of the house for more than half of the day because you're working, and now you really have nowhere to go. You have to face each other. So you could either see this as torture, because, I'm so mad at him, I'm so mad at her, and I can't run away from her, I can't run away from him. But you could also choose to look at it as a blessing, that now that we can't go anywhere except face each other, it's best that we try to resolve this as quickly as we can. Now, I've counseled many couples before marriage, post-marriage, and one thing that I can tell you is that every couple has their own unique ways in terms of how they choose or prefer to resolve an argument. And when I talk to couples before they're married, to interview them, I notice that sometimes one of them, for example, the lady, prefers to settle the problem immediately on the spot. But the guy needs time. So he'd rather not settle it immediately because he feels that if he continues talking right now, it's actually going to worsen the situation. So whenever I see a couple like this, I don't get worried. I don't, hit the alarm button. I don't tell them, oh no, this is going to be a huge problem. Instead, I tell them that, number one, it's great that you are aware, that you have this self-awareness that you need time, and then she is self-aware that she needs to get things over with as quickly as possible because she can't live with the draining thoughts and the negative thoughts in her head, right? The uneasiness in her heart that there is a hanging issue that's not yet settled. So my advice usually for couples like this, if let's say the guy says, I need 24 hours, give me 24 hours and I'm good. My advice is to always asking them to meet somewhere in between. I would tell them, okay, so you need to settle things immediately, but your partner needs time. You need time, but your partner needs to settle things immediately. So what do? You meet somewhere in the middle. So instead of 24 hours, let's try to do it before you go to sleep at night, right? Settle it 12 hours later. If you had an argument early in the morning before you go to sleep, settle it, right? Ideally not when you're on the bed necessarily. I mean, before that, try to talk, in the living room, talk somewhere where you both feel safe and comfortable. Just try to forgive each other and then, accept each other as you did before. So that is my first advice, to try to mend and make up, without prolonging it unnecessarily. Okay? If there's one thing I can say that is extremely unpleasant about being married and having an argument, is that when both parties try to impose on their partner their anger, like they give their partner the cold treatment, the cold shoulder treatment, right? They don't want to talk to them, they don't want to look at them, they give them a one-word answer. And to me, that's one of the worst feelings of all if you're married. Why? Because you're sharing the same home, sharing the same bedroom, the same bed, the same dining table, the same living room. Like, it's extremely unpleasant, right? It's not fun to be married and then not be able to talk to your partner. So that's one thing that I would really encourage for married couples. Now, the driving principle that should motivate you at the back of your mind always is the Prophet ﷺ saying that khayrukum khayrukum li ahli. The best among you are those who are the best to their partners, to their spouse. Wa ana khayrukum li ahli, and I am the best to my partner, the Prophet ﷺ said. So always aim to be the best to your partner, in terms of how you speak to them, how you interact with them, how quickly you are able to forgive them, overlook their mistakes. Always aim to be the very best. If that is your driving principle, then I believe you can definitely get over some of your issues in marriage faster than you ever could before. And now, especially now that we are all at home, let's try to do it as quickly as we can. Okay? Plus, we're in Ramadan. Ramadan is the month where we are all seeking Allah's rahmah, Allah's mercy. The best time to give mercy is when you need it most. If you need Allah's mercy, you need to start by giving away mercy. And mercy here can be to your partner and to any other family member that you're living with right now. Another common issue that people tend to raise nowadays to me is that they have a cold, distant relationship with their parents. So they may be living together, but they're not very close. Or they may not be living together, but they are aware that they have always had something that's not right with their parents. And it could be because of something that happened during their childhood. It could be because they've always felt that their parents never respected them or treated them well, or maybe preferred another sibling compared to them, right? And so this may have soured the relationship over the years. That's one thing. But I've also gotten where the parents are, what they say is toxic in terms of the things they say, the words they say, and their comparisons, and you know, their mistreatment, and the hurtful actions that they do towards them. So what do we do? What do we do in this situation? Well, for me, I hold on to the principle of the Prophet ﷺ. It depends on where you are. What position are you in? Are you the parent or are you the child? You're the child. So if you're the child, then the Prophet ﷺ said what? The Prophet ﷺ said, "Laisa minna man lam yuwaqqir kabirana wa lam yarham saghirana." You are not from amongst us if you are, someone who does not respect the elders from amongst us, or if you do not show mercy to the young ones from amongst us. So the first part is, if you're a child, the Prophet ﷺ said, we are not from amongst the Prophet ﷺ's people if we do not respect our elders. So for me, when it comes to just dealing with parents who are much older than us and they are aging and they are more sensitive, right? And they may have had this behavior that you call toxic for the longest time, for as long as you could have remembered. You have a choice to either allow them to continually hurt you with their words and their actions, or for you to just make one decision one day, wake up one day and say, you know what, I know that's how my parents are. They've always been that way. Or maybe it's just specifically your mom or just specifically your dad. They've always been this way and I can't change them. I've tried to change them. I've tried to talk to them. People have tried to get them to change and realize that their behavior is not good. But it hasn't seemed to work. So what are my options right now? Nothing much. You have a choice though to decide once and for all, I will never be affected ever again, because I hold the license to give to people who would have the right and the power to hurt me with their words and their actions. And that also means that I have a choice to not give them that opportunity to hurt me. And so from today onwards, you're going to tell yourself, if my parents say the same thing like they've been saying for the last 20 years, for the last 3 decades, I don't know how long you've lived with your parents, you tell yourself, in this blessed month of Ramadan, I'm not going to allow them to hurt me. In this blessed month of Ramadan, I'm going to believe in mercy, love, forgiveness. I'm going to pardon them for every wrong that they do towards me. I'm going to forgive them for all the mistakes they did to me in the past. And I'm going to disallow them from continually impacting my life in a negative way. And so you hold the choice. My message to you today is continue to engage your parents, continue to respect them, continue to visit them if they're sick, continue to aid them if they need your help. All of the basic things. If they need your help to go somewhere to get something, do all of those things. That's part of being a filial child. And if you are a filial child, and if your parents are pleased with you, right? If you did the right thing throughout your life in relation to your parents, then you are closer towards Jannah than other people are, right? And the price of Jannah is not cheap, and therefore it's hard. And that's why you may say, but Ustaz, it's so hard, it's so stressful, it's so depressing for me to continue to face them. But sometimes that's the price that it takes, to be patient at all times, and to always speak to them respectfully, no matter how much you disagree with them. It's okay to disagree, it's okay to have a different opinion, but always be respectful. Okay? So I guess that's about it for today's video. I just wanted to once again summarize and remind you that because we are in this predicament where we are all at home most of the time, let's take this chance to speak to each other, talk to each other, mend broken relationships, clear the air, get things off our chest, but do it with hikmah and wisdom, and also try to forgive one another with mercy in this blessed month. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. Thank you, and I look forward to seeing you again in another video soon. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.